Good morning. Welcome to 8th grade literature today. I'm Miss Boyd from Lott Middle School. Go Wildcats. On behalf of all the 8th grade teachers, I just want to let y'all know that we actually do miss y'all, and so this is why we're making sure that you get what you need from your home. So take a minute, grab a notebook, a pencil, your phone if you want to take pictures of the notes. If you're at home using the packet, this is going to be helpful to you. If you're working in your teacher's online lessons, this will be beneficial as well. So I'll give you like 5 seconds to get that stuff, and then we will get started. All right, today we're going to be looking at analyzing modern fiction. And I know you guys think that, well, I don't understand what that means. What is modern fiction? It's the right now stuff. So we're going to be looking at how to analyze that. So our standard, okay, is going to be RL 8.9, and what we're going to be looking at today is what does that mean and how do we apply that? So what are we supposed to be doing? First, we need to know what the standard says, and it's a mouthful, okay? So it says, analyze how a modern work of fiction draws on themes, patterns of events, or character types from myths, traditional stories, or religious works such as the Bible. I know y'all all know what that is, including describing how the material is rendered new. So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing some words that I feel we might need to explain a little bit. So I still don't know what that means, Ms. Boyd. You just told me what that standard is. Well, if you know these words, then it makes it a lot easier for you to understand what we're going to be doing today. So first, we need to analyze. Analyze means to consider carefully in order to understand. So if you watch all those crime shows like Law and Order, Criminal Minds, they look at the scene, they try to figure out what's going on so they can understand what they need to do. Theme, an important idea or a lesson in a literary text, okay? Think about a birthday party where somebody says we're going to do this kind of theme, like you want to do Avengers. That's what they want to focus on, making it feel that way. So that's what a theme is, kind of in a text, what they want you to understand. And rendered, that's a word, okay? And rendered, past tense, it means made. So when we look at the standard, it means we get something and they make it new. So if we take that and apply it into our own terms, okay, it means think about how what you are reading now is similar to a text that's from the past. That's all, okay? So it's like putting a flip on something. You know, the same way Drake takes somebody else's lyrics and makes it his own song. It's kind of the same thing. All right, so this is how you do that. You read a story, whatever that story is that your teacher has assigned you on the computer, or whatever that story is in the text in your packet. And then you want to pay attention to the characters and the sequence of events. That's the plot, you know, that plot diagram. Then you want to think about the theme. What is it that the author, the writer, wants you to learn or understand? What message are they trying to send you? What do you see that you're learning that you could apply to your life? And then you want to look at the characters, you want to look at the plot, you want to look at the theme and think about, is that similar to anything else I've read before? Anything that I've heard in church before? Anything that I've already seen in television? So that's where you start making the connections, all right? So I'm going to tell you guys a story, okay? It's a Greek myth, and it's about Cupid and Psyche. So if you know anything about Greek mythology, you know Cupid is the god of love, and Psyche is the girl that we're going to be learning about today, okay? So you guys are going to be looking at the screen, and I'm going to be giving you Ms. Boyd's version of the story, okay? So this king, he has 3 daughters, all right? And Psyche was like the Beyonce of the daughters. She was like perfection. She was so beautiful. Everybody loved her so much that no guys wanted to date her, okay? That caused a little bit of a problem because she was even more beautiful than the goddess Venus. And that caused a little bit of a problem for Venus. She got jealous. Y'all know what haters are. She was hating. So she decided that she was going to send her son, Cupid, to take out her vengeance on Psyche and make her fall in love with an ugly dude, pretty much. So when Cupid saw Psyche, he was like, oh, no, I'm in love. And so I'm going to make sure that she doesn't fall in love with anybody else, okay? So what he actually did was prick his own finger with his arrow because that's how Cupid would make people fall in love, okay? So her dad's upset because he's like, nobody wants to marry my daughter. Nobody wants to date her. He goes to see an oracle, okay? An oracle is like a psychic, all right? If you've seen The Matrix, he goes to see the oracle and they tell him all this prophecy stuff. So it's the same thing. So Psyche's father goes to see this oracle. The oracle tells Psyche that she has to go stand on this hilltop and her husband will come for her, okay? So she goes there and she's waiting for him, but the wind starts to blow and it picks her up and lifts her into the sky. So it takes her to this palace, okay? And she lives this great life in this palace, and there's a man in there who becomes her husband, but she never gets to see him, okay? Her sisters are hating because she's living this fabulous life, you know, like the other two from Destiny's Child that were mad about Beyonce making it to the big time. So kind of the same thing. So Cupid is now Psyche's husband, but Psyche doesn't know what he looks like, okay? So she's living this life, okay, and she wants to see what he looks like so bad. So one night, she pulls a sneak tip, and she goes in the dark to see what her husband looks like, okay? She takes a knife and a lamp because she figures if he's the monster, okay, she's going to kill him. She goes to the room and sees that it's Cupid. This totally messes everything up because now Cupid is like, I'm a god. She's not going to want to be with me. Who wants to be with me? I'm all powerful, and that's going to make her feel some type of way. So once he sees what's going on, it scares him. And Psyche, who has the oil lamp, so not that lamp like we use currently, okay? She spills the oil on him and burns him, okay? He gets up, he runs off full speed, doesn't say anything. So now Psyche's left with no husband. No man, no boo thing, just stuck by herself. What's she supposed to do? So Psyche says, I got to figure this out. I got to find Cupid. Had I known it was him, you know, I wouldn't have come into the room and scared him. So she runs back to the palace and she goes to see Venus, his mother. Now remember, Venus is jealous of Psyche, okay, because she's the one who told Cupid to mess up her life and make her fall in love with somebody ugly, okay? Venus sees her coming and she figures, this is my time. I can get Psyche out of the way, save my son, and go back to being the most beautiful person in the world. Now, if you're following the story, you should be able to right now think about some stories that you know that sound like this. We're going to talk about it at the end, but I want you to be thinking right now, what stories do I know where somebody has been jealous of another character's beauty? I know you know a couple. If you're my kids, you definitely know. So let's see what happens. Venus decides, you know what? I'm going to make her do some work. I'm going to make her do some work, some things I know she can't do, and then I'll get her. So Venus tells Psyche, cool, you want me to help you find your husband? You want me to help you have a happily ever after? You got to do something for me. I need you to do 4 tasks, okay? So on the first task, she gives Psyche this huge pile of seeds, and they're all different seeds. So imagine like tomato seeds, popcorn, rice, just all kinds of stuff. And she tells Psyche, you got to sort all of this stuff out into individual piles. You, by yourself. Psyche starts. She's doing pretty good. She gets this pile, but she knows she's not going to be able to get it done. And these ants come and help her, okay? So the ants all come in, and they take all of the seeds and put them into their proper piles. She passes the first test. Second test, okay? She tells her, you got to get fleece from the golden sheep. Now, if you've watched Percy Jackson, if you've seen the second one, you remember when they had to get the golden fleece and they're fighting over it at the end. So this is from that story as well, okay? That whole golden fleece, that Greek mythology. If you don't know what fleece is, it's pretty much the wool that's on there. So she's trying to figure out, how do I do that? How do I catch it? Because this sheep that she's going to has been known to attack anybody that comes near it. So she's standing there, and this green reed, it's like the grass, tells her, what you do is you look for the wool that gets snagged on the bushes that have the thorn. So Psyche goes around and she starts collecting all of the fleece, okay? All right, the third task. She's told to fill a flask with black water from the river Styx. Now, I know some of you are Greek mythology buffs out there, and I know some of you have watched that Clash of the Titans where they have to go into the river and you go across and it takes you to the underworld. So that's pretty much where Psyche's on her way to, okay? So in order for her to get there, okay, she needs wings to get it, all right, to get this water. So an eagle decides to help her with that, all right, takes the flask and dips it down in the river. Okay, if you go deeper into the story, you see that she had to get some coins to even get that far because she has to get on that boat. Okay, if you watch Clash of the Titans, the original, not that new Hollywood stuff, the original story, you see the exchange of the coins and going into the dark river and the fog and everything. It's pretty creepy. So you got to remember though, Psyche's on a mission. Okay, nobody wanted her before. And now her husband is missing, and this is the only opportunity that she has to help herself get Cupid back. All right, so her final task, totally right at the end, she's feeling pumped. She's like, I do this. I've had help the whole time. I'm going to get Cupid back. She has to take a box now into the underworld. So not just go to it to grab the water, but now she has to go into it, all right? And she has to ask Persephone to fill it with some of her beauty. If you don't know who Persephone was the daughter of Demeter, and Demeter is the goddess that's responsible for the changing of the seasons. Hades, who's the brother of Zeus, and Poseidon is the ruler of the underworld. He fell in love with Persephone and he snatched her, okay? So Persephone is living in this underworld, and she is beautiful. And so this is why Venus is sending her there, okay? So there's this whole connection of, I'm still jealous of you. I'm going to try to send you to your death, but in the event that you do pop out on the other side, I need something for myself, okay? So she gets to the underworld. She gets the box, but she doesn't get any beauty in that box. She got played, all right? Another hater. It's like she can't win for losing, all right? So the contents that she has in the box are actually contents that make her fall asleep, but she's completely unaware of this. She doesn't even know she's running into these haters. She's just trying to live her life, okay, her best life. So when she gets the box and she comes back, okay, to the world, to her world, Cupid realizes that she definitely is a match for him, even though he's an immortal, okay, and she's a mortal. He realizes that, hey, we can definitely be together. But she opened that box, okay? She fell asleep. And so one of those deep sleeps. So right there, I want you to think, what stories do you already know, okay, that have a beautiful woman who falls into a deep sleep and has to be saved by the person that she loves? I know you can definitely think of a few, okay? Cupid sees that she's in this deep sleep, so he goes to the god Jupiter and he uses ambrosia, okay, to wake her up. He makes this tea and they pour it into her mouth and she starts to swallow it and she starts to revive herself, okay? So not by a kiss, but saved by an act of love, okay? Oh, we had a technology issue. I'm just going to finish telling y'all the story, and then I'm going to roll over here and try to fix that. But what happens is Cupid and Psyche end up getting back together and living happily ever after, okay? So that's the Greek mythology. This will be our classic tale, all right? This will be the story that's old as time. So now what we want to do, based on our standard, you get a new story and you see how it's like the old story. So I've been asking you this whole time, what are some new stories that you know that have remnants, that have pieces of this story in there, okay? If you were paying attention, you probably thought about maybe the story Snow White, okay? I'm going to roll over here and sign back in so you guys can see the surprise that I got for y'all of the story that you're not thinking about, okay? So think about that. I know you might be thinking about Snow White. You could be thinking about Sleeping Beauty. But I want you to think about what story have you seen on television, now I'm giving you some more hints, that would connect to this one. Are you thinking? Is it up there? Okay. Twilight. I know y'all have seen this. I know some of you've read the books, but this story right here totally is falling in line with Cupid and Psyche, theme and all, which we're going to talk about, okay? Edward and Bella, truest love story. Weirdest love story, though. Who falls in love with vampires? I don't even understand that. Okay, so Cupid and Psyche, okay? This is what we know about this story, all right? Cupid is supernatural. He's a god, all right? He falls in love with Psyche, and Psyche is trying to learn his true identity because she doesn't really know. Remember, she was in the dark room. She took the lamp and the knife in there. Oil burned him. He runs away, okay? Cupid is afraid of being rejected by her, so that's why he bolts. He's like, I'm out, okay? But you see, in the end, their love is everything, and it conquers everything. She goes through these great lengths to be with him. She proves herself to his mother, even though she's a straight hater. And he saves her at the end, and they have their happily ever after. Greek myths don't really say happily ever after, but their love lived on forever, so it's the same thing. Now, Twilight, okay? This girl, Bella, she's in a new school. She sees this boy that is pale, copy paper white, Edward. He doesn't really talk to anybody. She's drawn to him. He looks like he's kind of feeling her, okay? She's paying attention to him, and she's trying to figure out, what is this dude's deal? What is he even about? Okay, he acts like he hates me. He bolts out of the classroom when I'm around. I need to figure out what's going on with him. Remember, Bella starts doing her homework on Edward, okay? Edward fears that Bella is going to reject him, okay? So if you remember in the movie, and if you haven't seen it, that's a good thing for you to do this weekend after you finish all of your assignments. Edward avoids Bella at all costs because he's hiding something. And when Bella realizes what that is, she wants to approach him with it. And so they have that day where they go outside of the school, and he runs off into the woods. It's a rainy, foggy day, and Bella follows behind him, and they start having a conversation, and she starts calling out his characteristics. He's fast, he's strong, he never eats or sleeps, and he says, say it out loud, what I am. And she calls him out. She calls him a vampire. And remember, they go into the woods a little further, and he tells her what he is. He's a killing machine. He's a monster. And then he stands in the light, and she gets to see who he truly is. And she tells him that she's not afraid of him and that he loves her. And if you remember, he tells her that he's been waiting for her his whole life, which is a really long time because he's been 18 forever. Okay, and so then you see that the theme is pretty much the same thing. The love conquers all. Now, Twilight was made not that long ago, okay? These Greek mythology stories are as old as time, and you see story after story showing you the same thing. Beautiful girl, okay? You see the guy that seems like never ending. If you've seen any of the latest teen werewolf movies, it's the same thing. It's this person that feels like they can't. Even the Superman movies, okay, like the original Superman movies do the same thing. And so you see that they run the same way. There's the supernatural, there's the beautiful girl, there's the fear of rejection, okay, and this guy that doesn't want to be with anybody because of his secret, okay, actually causes the woman to want him more. And you see at the end that they both, in both of the stories, they end up getting together and celebrating their forever love. So if you think about the standard where it tells you to analyze a modern work of fiction, that's Twilight, okay? That's modern, that's current. And you look at the patterns of events, how the stories move, okay, And the characters, you got 2 supernatural characters, you have 2 pretty girls, okay? You look at the events that happen. Bella ends up going through this traumatic experience because they're trying to kill her, okay? Just like Venus really thought that she would end up killing Psyche, okay? And they've realized that they truly love each other and that they would go to any cost to save the one that they love from danger. That's what Edward does. That's what Cupid does. He gets the potion and brings her back. Edward and his family come to save her at the end so that they can fight off the other werewolves. And then you see at the end, Cupid and Psyche stay together. And at the end of Twilight, you see Edward and Bella at their prom. And they're dancing, and it's like the happy ever after. And then you see that, you know, there's another sequence coming. But basically, this is your modern work, taking from your traditional story. Greek mythologies are called traditional tales, okay, because we pull so much from them. And you could probably pull Snow White and get some stuff out of here because there's the supernatural. You got the wicked stepmother, and she's got the poisonous apple, Sleeping Beauty, you know, you got Maleficent. So you guys know this stuff, you just don't know that it has a name. And what it's called is Reading Literature Standard 8.9, okay? So our goal is to demystify that for you. We want to make it plain, we want to make it clear. And I'm hoping that y'all are going to tune in next week because I got something real funky for y'all next week. I can't even wait to get to it. It was too much to put in here today, but next week is going to be really fun. So if your friends didn't watch, you need to tell them that they need to check in next week so that we can have some more fun with this literature. I had so much fun with y'all today. I enjoyed it. I hope that you were able to get the notes. That's why I kind of left the slides up so that you could take pictures, and that's okay. Tell your parents you can use your cell phones and your tablets in the class because it is a BYOD situation. And tune in next week. You're definitely going to need that for your packet. Bring your packets next week. And here's the assignments that you guys are going to be needing for this week. So you need to complete Flowers for Algernon if you're in the packet, questions 1 through 4. And that's going to be your minor grade. And then your major grade in the packets, okay, complete Uncle Marcos and To Fly, and you'll do 1 through 4 on page 473, and those will be your major grades. If your teachers are using the same thing online, then you need to do that. But if they're not, you still got to do the work, man. Y'all got to dig in, ask questions, tune in. Post questions on the Facebook page if you didn't get something, and you know, they'll try to get that to us so we'll know how to address that. We appreciate y'all checking in, and I hope y'all have a great rest of the week. Bye.